Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome to a new episode of the Qur'an and Science. This is your host, Tamer Mumtaz, and welcoming our very dear Professor, Dr. Zaghloul AL-Nagaa, welcoming our very dear guests, Brother Mustafa and Brother Fuad. And in this episode, we'll talk about the Earth's energy. But first, we'll listen to a recitation to verse number 80, Surah Yasin, which deals with our topic today.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون.
He who made for you the green tree, fire, and then from it you ignite.
Professor Zaghloul, the Earth's energy.
I begin by praising Allah. All glory be to Him, our Creator, the Creator of the universe and of everything that's in it, the sole Lord of the worlds, the sole Master of everything, the one and only one without parallels, partners, or similitudes, who has created us and created everything around us. And I seek His blessings to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the seal of that long chain of prophets and messengers from him who were sent for the guidance of humanity at large. And I greet you all and our audience in our Islamic way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah's peace, blessings, and mercy be with you all. This verse towards the end of Surah Yasin, الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون, is a unique example for what we have mentioned before, that the Quranic verse that deals with some of scientific notions comes in plain words, and each generation can see in it a meaning, and these meanings integrate without the slightest contradiction, and they unfold with time to encompass human knowledge, whatever level that human knowledge can reach, so that the Holy Quran can remain encompassing man and his knowledge. الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون is referring to Allah, to our Creator, and the Creator of everything. الذي, it is He, meaning Allah, who has made for you, الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر, from the green tree, نارا, a fire. فإذا أنتم منه توقدون, therein you start kindling other sources of energy, your own fire, all you need as a form of energy. Of course, the Bedouins at the time of Muhammad, peace be upon him, so in this verse, a very simple example. They say that we have two old trees in the desert, al-markh wal-ufar, and these being desert trees, they are very dry. And once you strike one branch of it with the other, a spark comes out. And they can use this as a source of energy, as a source for fire. Others said, we also can dry the wood and use it as a source for fire.
Yes.
Which is absolutely correct.
Like coal?
No, before coal. Okay. You can use wood directly. And a third group said that we can burn this wood away from atmospheric oxygen, and it can change directly to what we call botanic coal, coal from plants. All these meanings are absolutely correct. But nowadays, we come to understand that the largest majority of energy sources to man are derived from the sun. And Allah has given the green plants the capacity to store part of the radiations of the sun and use this energy of the sun to analyze water, which the plant takes from the soil or from irrigation or from humidity in the air, and analyze that water to its initial components, hydrogen and oxygen. And the plant, look at the miracle of creation. The plant can store the hydrogen atoms and release the oxygen for the benefit of human beings and animals. It also was given the capacity to absorb a small fraction of the atmospheric carbon dioxide. And as we all know, the carbon dioxide is in a very small proportion in our atmosphere, 0.06%. Yet all the plants can use this to produce the basic food chain on the surface of that planet. It takes carbon dioxide, analyzes it by the solar energy to its initial components, carbon atoms, which it retains, and oxygen that's released for the benefit of humanity and of animals. And then with the same solar energy, it can bind or join together the carbon atom with the hydrogen atoms in a long chain of compounds that represent the basics of the food chain on Earth. All types of sugars, all types of starches, all types of how can I say, even fats and oils and the like, you see, which are proteins, you see, but cellulosic material, which the plant can use for building its own body. And then the excess after the need of the plant come in the form of flowers and fruits. So man can eat these products and can use the energy in them for his own activity. And animals can feed on it as well and use it for their own activity. When the plant dies, either it becomes immediately dried and used by humans as wood or as straw or as any form of dry plant that can be used as a source of energy, or can be changed into botanic coal, or can be immediately buried by the running water and the wind and the other erosive processes in lakes or along shorelines in shallow areas, where it can be immediately buried with mud, and it changes gradually into the successive stages of coal: peat, lignite, anthracite. All the qualities of coal can be improved there with time. Animals can feed on these plant products, and they can change the starches and the sugars and the like into proteins in their bodies. And once these animals die and are buried at the bottom of the sea, these proteins within their bodies constitute the initial components of oil. And in both cases, coal, if you increase pressure and temperature on coal, you change it into coal gas. And if you increase the temperature and pressure on oil, you change it into oil gas. And if we look around, we can find that the largest majority of the energy needed by man throughout history has been these sources. And the main origin of it is the green plant. And look at the beauty of the Quranic expression. الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون. It is Allah, all glory be to Him, who has given you the power from the green plant. And one would imagine this green plant could never be a source for fire or a source for energy. But actually, the largest majority of all sources of energy on the surface of that planet are produced by the green plants, which Allah has given the capacity to store the energy of the sun in the form of chemical bonds that, of course, can be used later on as the main source for energy on the surface of that planet.
So you're saying that the main source of energy on Earth is from plants?
Yes.
And this is because of a process it passes through?
Yes.
So actually the oil that we take was one day a green plant?
Yes. Yes, indeed. Most of the oils are coming from plants, from seeds of plants, you see.
So we get benefit from energy from the plant when the plant is still alive and even when it dies. So both.
Indeed, indeed. And there are even certain types of plants that Allah has given the capacity to change this process completely to produce oils. There is a plant developed in South America called jojoba or jojoba. Actually, they can produce oil directly from it.
Yes.
Because Allah has given it the capacity to change the soil and the water and the carbon dioxide, not only in carbohydrates but in proteins, which are more complex chemical compounds than carbohydrates.
Yes.
So,
this oil, they use it
yes.
in what? In energy, or I think they use it in...
they can use it directly. They squeeze the plant and use the juice coming out of the plant as an oil.
Oh, from the plant itself, not from the seeds of the
No,
plant.
from the plant itself, and from the seeds as well. And from the seeds as well.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And actually, this is a large project today that scientists are trying to produce oil directly from plants. Directly from plants. But mainly from the seeds, as you know. Yeah.
Yes.
Mainly from the seeds.
Yeah, like sunflower oil and...
sunflower oil or
corn oil.
Sesame oil. And, many oils.
Many benefits in the...
The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he was mentioning a few kind of seeds that if we consume, that can cure a lot of disease, like the black seeds,
this is the black seed,
for
yes,
instance.
yes.
Correct?
The black seed, the blessed seed.
Exactly, the blessed seed.
And he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is quoted to have said, في الحبة السوداء شفاء من كل داء إلا السام. And السام هو الموت.
Yes.
He said, in the black seed, there is a cure from all diseases, except
death.
Death.
Yes.
But
what's the black seed, doctor? What exactly?
It is an ordinary plant that produces these black seeds, and it has its own oil component. Sometimes it's used as it is, as seeds, or it is squeezed to get its oil. And both the seed and its oil have proved to enhance immunity in the human body. And if you increase the immunity of the body becomes strong enough to defeat any sources of illnesses that may affect the body. And the best way of curing a human being is to increase the immunity of the body.
Exactly.
Yes.
Professor Zaghloul, we'll go for a short break now, and after the break I want to ask you why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has especially mentioned the green tree.
Yes.
Why green tree? Why not just tree? But now we'll go for a short break, and please be with us after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
The tension there, what about the North Korean nuclear program and the six-party talks? How will the tension there affect a relationship between US and China?
They did that early in 1993, and after long discussion and negotiation, finally they stopped the program.
Will the world be able to stop this flow of secrets? Will it affect international relations? Or were there simply basic known facts for most experts and most diplomats?
And we don't know if there's more to come. It's information war.
Welcome back to Qur'an and Science. And Professor Zaghloul, I was just asking you before the break why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has specially specified the green tree. He didn't just say any tree, but
this
the
is
green
again
tree.
one of the basic scientific facts in the glorious Quran, because it is the green matter that Allah has given the capacity to carry out a very important process called photosynthesis.
Yes.
The analysis of the chemical compounds using the energy of the sun. And without this green matter, the plant could have never done that. There are certain little bodies in the leaves of the plants that give these leaves the green tint. Chloroplastids. And these chloroplastids are actually tiny little objects that cannot be seen by the naked eye. And they carry a level of chemical processes man can never do. It is these chloroplastids, these tiny objects within the leaves of the plants and sometimes in the branches as well. It is these that can analyze water to its initial components and analyze carbon dioxide to its initial components and then release oxygen and combine carbon and hydrogen by chemical bonds that can produce that long chain of carbohydrates, of proteins, and of many other compounds.
But is this limited only to the green trees? Because we know there are different colors of trees.
Yes.
So this is mainly in green trees
mainly
only?
in green trees, because it is the green matter in the leaves and in the branches that carry out this process.
SubhanAllah, that is why doctors say, especially nutrition doctors, they say that the darker the vegetable, the more the benefit one can get from it.
Indeed.
SubhanAllah.
And you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planned things in a beautiful way. For each seed, there is the embryo of the plant. And the embryo of the plant is surrounded, is actually a very tiny little thing that cannot be seen by the naked eye, surrounded by amount of food for this embryo. And it's covered by an outer cover. And despite this very tight coverage, it has got a passageway, a tiny passageway for oxygen, so that the embryo would not die. But it will not allow enough water to cause it to germinate. And strangely enough, if you store the seed, you will find in the seed itself chemical compounds that can inhibit germination, so that you can store it for enough time. But once you put it in the ground and water it with the exact quantity of water it needs, the embryo starts to revive, to wake up. And as it revives, it sends the root downwardsly and the shoot upwardly. And the amount of food surrounding the embryo is just enough for its existence until the shoot comes above the ground. And this shoot starts with two white leaves that cannot produce any food. And suddenly the green leaves come to the plant. And the green leaves come at exactly the same time the food for the embryo has been consumed. And then these green leaves are the chef who prepare the food. Really, they are the chef who prepare the food for the plant. And for us as well.
Yes.
You see? And it's the green leaves who cook everything.
Yeah.
They prepare these simple materials into carbohydrates, into sugars, into starches, into cellulosic material, into even oils, many different types of oils, and many different types of proteins.
So therefore, doctor, we could understand that the green trees are energy if we, for example, those who eat it when it's alive. And after this green tree dies, it becomes another form of energy.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question also. In the verse, the word naran is being mentioned, fire. It is translated to mean fire.
Which
Naran.
Yes.
Which is translated to be fire.
Yes.
Why? Why is it mentioned with green leaf?
Because
and
it's
fire?
the simple form of energy. The Bedouins in the desert would know. If you tell them electromagnetic waves, they will not understand it. Nuclear energy, they will not understand it. But it gave a simple term for energy. And fire is a very simple term that expresses energy.
Up till now, when you say fire, it's energy.
Energy, yes.
But don't you think, Doctor, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specified at the end of the verse the use of this energy? Minhu tuqidun.
Minhu
tuqidun.
Tuqidun, yes.
But why is that? Can you tell me, can you explain to me?
Again, a simple word to express the application of energy to all human needs.
So tuqidun means here to state of
to do
fire?
everything you need.
Yeah.
To do everything you need.
I see.
Not just to initiate fire.
Initiate fire.
Actually, to use energy in different forms, in different types.
Allah.
And also we find a similar statement in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, laments on the kafirs and the unbelievers and the agnostics and the associators. And he says, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ النَّارَ الَّتِي تُوقِدُونَ. Haven't you seen the fire you kindle? أَأَنْتُمْ أَنْشَأْتُمْ شَجَرَتَهَا أَمْ نَحْنُ الْمُنشِئُونَ. Did you create its tree, or did we, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, create its tree? أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ النَّارَ الَّتِي تُورُونَ أَأَنْتُمْ أَنْشَأْتُمْ شَجَرَتَهَا أَمْ نَحْنُ الْمُنشِئُونَ نَحْنُ جَعَلْنَاهَا تَذْكِرَةً وَمَتَاعًا لِلْمُقْوِينَ فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْعَظِيمِ. Verily, we have made it a reminder. تذكرة ومتاعا للمقوين, and a bounty and a source of pleasure for those that are traveling in the desert. فسبح باسم ربك العظيم. If you understand this, then glorify your Lord and remember Him in exalting and submission to His guidance, you see. Because if you understand the complication of the process of changing carbon dioxide and water into that long chain of carbohydrates, sugars, starches, cellulosic material, proteins, oils and fats, with this plant, this simple plant, using the energy of the sun to provide us and the animals with the energy needed, and when it dies out, it gives another source of energy that can be used by man.
And even not touched also, can we say, because plants consume carbon dioxide in order to manufacture food.
Yes.
And it produces oxygen, which is the main energy for a man to get about doing his work.
Indeed.
So even without being touched, it produces energy for us.
Energy.
Indeed.
Subhanallah.
Indeed. And that's why, you see, it is always advised to have large green areas, particularly in condensed cities, because this would rejuvenate oxygen all the time. Yes, will rejuvenate oxygen all the time.
And reduces pollution too.
Is this?
Reduces pollution as well.
Reduce the pollution, definitely.
Yes.
Because the main cure for the many pollutants man is expelling in the atmosphere is the green tree.
Yes.
The green tree.
Also, I would like, Doctor, just to get back a little bit to this ayah again, to this verse, regarding the fire as a reminder.
Yes.
It's a reminder for what the sinners are going to face in the judgment day.
Yes.
Right? And also the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what the people who obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see also in the judgment day, like paradise. Right?
It could mean this as well, but of course I find a reminder something that would make you reflect and ponder and rethink about how could this simple plant play that very important role, without which life again would have been impossible. So especially if we remember that it is documented in the older rocks of the earth that the atmosphere of the earth was completely different in chemical composition from the present day atmosphere. The early earth had an atmosphere full of carbon dioxide, full of carbon monoxide, full of nitrogen and nitrous gases, infilled by lots of poisonous gases actually.
Right.
And that's why out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has created life first in water. And after quite a long time, and as we mentioned the previous episode, life remained in water between 3.8 billion years and 400 years. We did not find any trace of life on land before 400 years ago, or around that date. And what the first thing was created on land was plant, and particular trees. And these trees played the important role of taking all the poisonous gases and generating oxygen to make the atmosphere suitable for the animal life that were created later on.
For 400
and probably
years?
for man as well, later on.
Since 400 years before?
400 million years.
400 million, yes.
400 billion years, yes.
400 million years.
Because we have 3.8 billion years, the oldest record of life. And of course, this went on into water until the very first land plant was created.
Yes.
It was plants. And of course, the oldest plant found on Earth, on continental plant, was around 400 million years ago.
In which place was that found?
All over the world, actually.
Okay.
It's found in very many different places.
But can we say green trees are the only source, or are they the main source of energy?
I could say the main source of energy, because you can have energy out of radioactive material.
Okay.
And radioactive material have nothing to do with green plants, you see. Nowadays, man is trying to use the solar energy directly, use the wind energy, use the waterfall energy, use the geothermal energy at the depth of the earth, you see.
Chemical energy?
Chemical energy?
From chemicals, from hydrogen, from...
But no, this is too difficult for man to accomplish, actually. But the simplest form of it is geothermal energy.
Yes,
because it is well known that the earth, as you drill in it, as you go deep in it, find a gradient of 1 degree centigrade for every 30 meters or around that. And in many instances, you find this gradient much quicker, much higher. And because of the proximity to the magma. See, if you get an injection of magma nearer to the surface of the earth, then you can get hot springs, you can get what we call fumaroles, clouds of water vapor coming all the time.
But these are man-induced magma.
I beg your pardon?
Man-induced magma.
No, not man. Man cannot induce magma. No, it's injected by natural processes.
But they made the opening for it. They drilled for it.
No, you see, they knew about it because they saw natural wells flowing with hot water.
Yes.
Or natural wells flowing with water
like
vapor.
Oil, like
oil, yes, more or less. But this gave them the hint that if you can drill 2 nearby wells and connect them by an inclined connection,
yes,
and pour marine water in one of the wells, it can come out in the other one superheated steam, which you can condense, use it as a fresh water, and use it for the generation of energy. They call this the geothermal energy, energy from the earth. So I cannot say that the green plants are the complete source of energy on the earth, but it is one of the main and easiest and simplest form of donating energy to man without effort on his own side.
SubhanAllah.
Yes.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was very generous to us, wasn't
Subhanallah.
he? Alhamdulillah. Sadly, we have come to the end of this episode, but we thank you very much,
Came
Professor
very quick.
Yes, yes. It's always like that. Thank you, our dear guests. Thank you, dear viewers. Until next episode, please be with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.